Shut your mouth!
Before this video begins, I'd like to remind you all that this is, in fact, personal opinions, not just the channel name, but what's actually going on here. It's all good if you don't agree, and it's all good if you do agree. The whole point, though, is that this is just personal opinions. I'm not professional at all in any way, and this is obviously no slight against those who made this movie. When I first watched this movie, Encanto, I can't say. I really didn't like it. I didn't see the hype, I didn't see the point, I didn't even see the reason. Then I decided, if I'm gonna make a video about why I don't like this, considering it's very much beloved, I should probably watch it again to make sure I'm correct in my thought processes and can defend myself. So, when I watched it a second time, I realized I liked it. Then I realized later, after thinking about it a little bit more, that I don't, in fact, like it. I like the fandom's ideas that were brought together and meshed with it. A rare occasion where the fandom helps instead of hurting itself, excluding the, side of things. So, overall, unfortunately, I'll have to say that this movie is mid. The side characters lack personality. They brought to birth the most annoying characters in all of Disney I've ever seen. The music doesn't fit Disney at all. The backstory is missing things and the ending is disappointing. But don't get me wrong, they did a lot of things right, like Lisa's design, the parents not being dead and actually a part of the plot while not being evil, the story of forgiveness and moving on without grudges, even though someone who should have gotten their apology didn't get theirs. And much more. The movie itself is beautifully animated, especially the clothes, the skirts, the character designs. The color theory is so on point. The hidden Brunos and the small character moments are amazing, except for the fact you have to watch the movie 4 or 5 times to see Bruno dancing in the background as they sing, "We don't talk about Bruno, no." Excuse my singing, and Cutie Dolores clapping with her fingers. Or you could have someone else point it out to you on TikTok. Let's start with one of my first gripes. The side characters. We have an amazing cast of characters who represent different parts of a loving but sometimes unfunctional family, and we only learned about maybe 2, 3, if that.
They only had so much time in the movie. They couldn't show everyone.
First of all, they took 7 minutes out at the end of the movie, and Disney could easily get away with long movies. We have Dune, for crying out loud, a remake of it nonetheless. And people are willing to watch longer movies. And second of all, you don't even have to go too deep to learn about each of these characters. Another movie that had a big family but helped the audience understand each character easily was My Big Fat Greek Wedding. A movie about, believe it or not, a big fat Greek family and a wedding. A daughter who wants to advance in the world more and marry someone who isn't Greek, much against her family's dismay. You have all these characters in this movie, but it's easy to know who is who, where they stood in the family, and what their views were without a both confusing and kind of bad song. Sister, the brother, the aunt, the main character, all of them I can easily remember their purpose now without watching it in the last 5 years, give or take. Yet most of these characters were only in the movie itself for 10 minutes at most. Yet I understood who they were and what they were meant to do. I understood them as people, as characters. They made sense. This movie with magic in the house could have taught us so much more about each character by giving Mirabel more time interacting with adults, with simple hellos, good mornings, and conversation at the table. Showed the kids playing with each other in a friendly or aggressive manner, and better yet, showed us glimpses of all of their rooms. All of this could have easily been done in short seasons. To prove a point, I made an example. Mirabel wakes everyone up in the morning while singing. We hear the song, we see she wakes up early and who takes the most time getting ready or has to start working before everyone else because she sings about it. We also learn she gets up in the morning and gets the family up as one of her duties because she must know she has something to do for the family, taking pride in getting them up to help people in the village, but also having her family rely more on her. During this song, we can see the 2 marriages at work. Felix brushing his wife's hair out of her face and a cute sun appearing over her as she looks at her beloved in the morning. We can see Julieta getting up first to cook for the family as sleepily but joyfully Augustine follows her, tying her apron with a kiss on the forehead, and he puts on his own that is clearly torn up, nearly tripping over his shoes to get out the door first so he can open it up for her to show that he cares about her. Mirabel and Camilio walk down the hall together for a moment as he bumps her shoulder and she punches his arm, and he pinches her hard before running away, his little brother chasing after him and Camilio changing into his brother to hug him good morning. Isabel throwing a pillow at Mirabel with disgust, and Mirabel throwing it back and quickly closing the door as a wave of flowers hit the door where she just was. Abuela looking longingly at a photo of her husband and stopping for a moment before turning away as we see young, healthy toddlers, her hand moving from where Bruno stood. Felix making sure to be extra quiet around Dolores, reminding the family to quiet down for her sake. Luisa inviting Mirabel to work out with her and showing Mirabel, which can show Mirabel has some muscle. And during the entire movie, as she's around Mirabel, she messes with her hair and gives her little compliments here and there. I literally could go on and on, to be honest. All of these can happen during the same song and don't even have to be in the house, still showing around the village and giving character development. These are a few moments when they could have added so much more, but they didn't. This family obviously loves each other, and each of these moments would have shown their love and relationships with each other while they are taking care of the village nonetheless. Also, side note, the villagers need to get their act together and stop using the family. Like, please, they are human beings. Treat them with respect. They are not genies who are there to fulfill your every wish. The only good thing about not having these character moments in these movies is that people can make headcanon upon headcanon, and no one is wrong about who these characters are because we don't know who these characters are. You know what other character has little personality and we don't know who they are, but shouldn't be there? These three little kids. I hate these kids so much. They're one of Disney's worst creations. Their faces are weird, like especially his. Like his mouth goes way too big for something, or there's something wrong with him specifically. But there's something wrong with all of them. They can't read social cues and are just so annoying. They are just hard to watch. Like, they need to back off.
They are just kids.
I know, and I still hate them. They are used as plot devices to show us about the family and the fact that Mirabel doesn't have any powers, but they should already know this. The family has been protecting this village for 4 generations. They are myth and legend kind of deal here. These children have grown up with stories about how this family helped and saved them and their ancestors. Like, you're telling me that these kids didn't know anything? But no, they chose to be brats and ask Mirabel about her abilities and powers. Not to mention this jerk, which is a terrible establishment of Mirabel not having powers. We get it. These annoying kids just scream about it. Also, these adults playing instruments, you knew she didn't have power and you still play the music. Rude. Mirabel could have been seen as the only relatable one for the generations who didn't grow up with Abuela, that she could have answered their questions and guided them.
That's what she was doing with the children?
No, they are harassing her. Look, I can see what they were trying to do with these characters, but I just hate them so much. I see the point. The point was made terribly, though. Plus, their song is annoying. I found it very hard to understand the first time I watched it due to how quick it was. So good job to the actress. That is very impressive. Very impressive. And I didn't know the characters' names until later, which was kind of a big point of the song. That's the point of the song, was to teach us about the characters, and I honestly didn't know who was who until they were said in their own scenes. The only song I felt like fit the Disney music was We Don't Talk About Bruno, and I cannot say this one right, but this one. These songs had the fairy tale Disney taste. I don't know how else to explain it, but the other songs just didn't fit. Waiting on a Miracle fits Disney TV shows like this one here. Which, by the way, I'm not saying they're both similar because they're both about waiting for their time to come to become and stand in the place of glory, but because they have very similar tones, and whenever you watch them, they have very similar magic scenes where they're both like being surrounded by people they love and care about, and how they want to be recognized by them, and then there's magic jumping around them, stuff like that, you know? I'm not just saying it because, oh, this song came out years ago and it has weight in it. That would be stupid. I'm saying simply this song and that song is very similar things, and also I'm not bashing anyone or saying they copied Disney copied Disney or something like that. I'm simply saying, hey, would you look at that? There's a similar song, and this is why it kind of matches Disney TV shows a bit more than Disney movies. But it's still a good song either way, which, again, I'm not bashing any of these songs because they don't fit the Disney motif or the Disney magic. I'm just saying they don't fit the Disney magic, and it's one of the reasons I think We Don't Talk About Bruno does better compared to the other songs. Surface Pressure, while good and heartfelt, just isn't Disney. What Else Can I Do is off, but the closest one out of the rest to the Disney magic, music. And All of You is like the first song, fast, but this one just seems very forced and hard to listen to. It's like, these songs didn't make it for me. They don't have the same Disney magic, kind of like Frozen 2, Lost in the Woods. Wondering if you still care. Trying to either be something else, which is just wrong, or not fitting in the genre. None of these songs, though, were as bad as Lost in the Woods in its own movie. It's just kind of weird. Something I don't understand as well is the backstory. Most of the time, Disney's backstories make sense. Ariel's mother was killed by pirates, toys have always talked, etc. The difference here is that magic just doesn't appear out of nowhere. Frozen stated Elsa was born with her magic, and in the second movie it came around that it came from her mother's side. Someone born with magic makes sense. It's a trope we've seen constantly throughout movies. Plus, Frozen showed early on, even before the magic was revealed, that this universe has trolls and therefore magic just makes sense. In almost any other movie genre, we learn the whys there's magic. Someone died, a witch placed a curse, or even a combination of the two, or many more examples. Magic isn't usually seen as a good thing. So why didn't the villagers kill Abuela when the random magic came from her mourning for her husband? Were they just so terrified that they never tried to kill a newly widowed woman who just gave birth and has 3 babies? Why does the magic depend on the family's relationship with each other? Or is it just Abuela's relationship with a family member? The cracks only happened after Mirabel grew up, and Abuela has beef with Mirabel for not having a gift. That or she has beef about the whole Bruno running away, but she didn't know about that. So she just has beef with a toddler? Because she didn't get a gift? Come on, Abuela, you can do better than that. Is the magic now dependent on Mirabel because she brought the family back together and had some sort of magic in her to bring the house back alive? Why did the house come back alive? Does the house itself need to break when the house chooses the next leader of the family? Does every leader of the family not get a gift? If so, why? To relate better to the people they are keeping safe? If they stated that where they were running to has been blessed, or the river gave special gifts when they were running away from their village, then half of my questions would have been answered. It wouldn't need to be said in the start, but in the middle as an off comment, or as Mirabel is teaching the children in the song, even at the end when Mirabel is talking to Abuela in the river. Which leads me to the rushed ending. Abuela didn't even say sorry to the rest of the family, not even saying she regretted what she did to Bruno. Nothing to Bruno to say, I'm sorry, man. Nothing like that, because it's implied that she didn't treat him well, that nobody did, based on their actions after he left. There's no anything except for a tap on his face and, I love you, something like that. You know, she barely gave him a nod of notice when it was turned out he was alive. That whole thing made me angry. I also want to preference this as I'm not a simp for Bruno. I think Bruno is average and has some issues. Definitely not gay, as some people try to say. But I'm just letting you know I'm defending the guy because he deserves a sorry, not because I simp for him. Anyway. Plus, a rushed house being built showing characters that have changed. Kinda. And house magically having, magic again. This rushed ending just didn't really make sense. I would have liked to see more than Louisa saying she cries sometimes and having a hard time lifting to but in tandem show. Family became out of touch with the town, and the town knowing it was their time to stop using the family, but working with them. Their gifts were all something they liked, shown by Antonio loving animals and being able to talk with them. Giulietta could have fed the town, Dolores could have become a messenger, Isabella could have become a farmer instead of... They took those much-needed 7 minutes and just threw them out the window. This family loved what they did. They just didn't feel like it was enough for Abuela, but now that they know that they are enough, they can do so much more. An emotional weight has been lifted from them, and now they can explore their desires for their life while still helping others. They took those much-needed 7 minutes and just threw them out the window and didn't do the movie well at all in the end. People don't mind longer movies as long as there is a reason for them to be longer. We obviously like these characters. I'm sure Disney didn't expect us to like this movie this much, but they could have done more to highlight who these characters grew to be instead of Isabella crazy plant lady and Louisa crying more. It's just there's so much more that could have been done. And before everything else, I want to highlight these 3 characters because I have specific thoughts about them. Peppa, Louisa, and Isabella. I've seen people say Peppa is abusive, but I really don't think so. I think she's stressed and not given a chance to outlet her emotions, which causes her to act the way she does. I don't think she means to hurt people, physically, verbally, emotionally, whatever. She's just constantly holding in her emotions when she just needs a field or two to cry in and then she's good. But she still needs to control her actions better. Just because you're stressed doesn't mean you can get away with being mean. Also, I've seen how Louisa dolls are outselling Isabella dolls, which a lot of people say that's because kids don't want dolls that are just cute. They want dolls that are different and buff, which I can see, but I raise you a point, which was pointed out by my father, so thanks to you, Dad, for this point. Kids don't really want Isabella dolls because they don't want dolls of characters that were jerks. Isabel constantly put down Mirabelle before she changed, and the dolls they are mostly selling are in her dress before she changed to be a more compassionate person. Kids aren't stupid, unless they look like this. Kids know and see kindness and compassion. They want it in their life to either be given to them or for them to give to others, or both. Louisa's that, and is always that in the movie. It's not a matter of looks and body, but heart and spirit and compassion. I feel like this is a great example of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3-4. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry and of fine clothing. Rather, it should be that your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. This is personal opinions, and I would like to hear yours in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like or subscribe if you want to see more. Now, Tara, take it away.